February wati ha mars pomaran la kuma ma wati ule.
Thousands of people across West Africa are being lured in by human trafficking scam commonly known as QNet.
Hali wati do elere ba yeda ko ni nyaare ndimila. Ka.
In my country, Sierra Leone, and in the wider region, many young people are desperate to travel.
I dey waka by foot from here to America. Back come up at this orphanage.
Enticed by the promise of work opportunities abroad, victims often spend thousands of dollars only to be held captive and coerced into recruiting friends and family.
You know, guys, that's what I want to talk about. And by the way, this is on BBC News Africa. They have their YouTube channel, and you can check it out there. But I wanted to talk about this, and this is the sad part is this is not new. This topic of people wanting to travel and migrate, especially the young people of Africa, because they've lost hope in the continent. I mean, if you look around and see what's actually happening, you can see exactly why they've lost hope. Even though that's not the way, I believe that, they should, that's not the action that they should be taking. I mean, basically, because at the end of this point, it's like, if we surrender, if all of these young people say everybody wants to run away from Africa, then what's going to be left, right? So, but this is the form of slavery in the 21st century, and that is what that's why this is important. And that is why I'm pointing this out. And I want to use this as an opportunity when we see, documentaries like these to share with my young brothers and sisters so they have an idea of what is actually going on across the rest of the world. Because they're being sold as slaves, basically, and this is voluntary slavery at this point. Back in the day, we all know it's like they send the sheeps, the white folks come and they bargain with the chiefs in some of these villages and towns across Africa. And then, of course, the chief does not like a certain set of people, they sell them off. Take these ones, that's how slavery was born, in Africa. So now that's not what's happening, right? We don't see the sheeps coming anymore to buy the, slaves from the African leaders or the chiefs in their villages and towns. Now, voluntarily, the young people are running away from Africa because the African leaders, as they are all useless, hopeless, reckless, and futile. They've not been able to provide anything meaningful and good for the people of Africa. And these young kids, these young, Africans are seeing the endless opportunities, especially with the advent of social media today. They know they deserve so much more better. And so they're chasing that vision, chasing that dream. But things are rough because now you have these QNet guys, these human traffickers that are they've taken over the slave trade, more or less, because that's what I'm going to call it. It's a slave trade. And they are getting these young people to recruit their friends. And that is what we see across the continent of Africa. So they're becoming victims, and they're the ones that are actually manufacturing their victimhood. And they are getting their friends through these QNet organizations, these human traffickers. They are letting these young people recruit their other young friends, unbeknownst to them that when they get to these situations, they get into slaves. They turn them into slaves. And so it's important for us to talk about these and share these, experiences that young people are having across the continent so that
back home.
people would know. Listen to this.
Street now, yeah? They come. They're very good.
And by the way, this was done in Makeni, in a town in Sierra Leone. It's one of the big cities in Sierra Leone, Makeni Township. This is where it was done. And I've noticed all the BBC documentaries are coming from, the northern part of Sierra Leone. I haven't seen yet any from the southeastern part of Sierra Leone. I would love to see what would come out of that. But most of the documentaries on BBC News Africa, because it is either this our brother, I would look up his name, or Tyson Conte. They've done the Kush epidemic and all of that. And it's not only affecting Makeni. I know that's the place they have access to because I know what it is. In Sierra Leone as it is, it's difficult for you to go into the southeast and do what you want to do because these people will chase you. And they wouldn't allow you because they don't want you to show their people in certain lights, right? But the fact of the matter is, most of the documentaries coming from BBC today out of Sierra Leone is from Makeni, from the northern part of the country. Just want to point that out. But again, let's check this out.
My name is Saiduba.
And this is our brother Saiduba, who does this documentary tracking these human traffickers that are actually selling our brothers and sisters from Sierra Leone. And this is happening across Africa, not just Sierra Leone. So I'm sharing this so you guys can take a look at this and, understand exactly what is actually happening, so you can, pass the word around to other young people and say, don't fall for this nonsense. So listen to this.
Have been given exclusive access to Interpol and the Sierra Leone police as they try to clamp down on these criminal gangs.
So again, this is in collaboration with Interpol to track down these gangs, because it's a serious deal. A lot of the young people that have been rescued by IOM and all these other organizations in Tunisia, Algeria, all those places, Mauritania, trying to get through the Sahara Desert, all of these people, we're telling the investigators that their friends actually got them into this. It was not their idea. Their friend told them that there's endless opportunities for them to go and make a living for themselves outside of the country. And because their countries, it's so rough and difficult, you have useless leaders, useless African presidents that are not doing anything to improve the livelihoods of their people. So these young people are falling victims to these. And that is why we have to pass the word around. Mothers and fathers, you have a responsibility. Sit your kids down. I know it's tough. I know it's rough. Life is difficult. They see you guys suffering every day. They're like, oh, I want to get my mom and my dad out of this suffering. That is not their responsibility. Matter of fact, it's you, the parents. Because again, that's another problem. Parents in Africa, this generation of parents that are in their 60s, 50s, 60s, they are the ones that have failed their children. And that is why it's continuously, it's generation after generation, because they've always cowered, always been very cowarded, because they've tried. Some of them tried. Some of these parents that are in their 50s, 60s, they tried, but the system beat them down. And they gave up and said, okay, well, it is what it is. I'm no longer young. I cannot go out there and protest anymore. So now it's in the hands of the younger generation. And they're going to be beat down too. They're going to be massacred, going to be killed. So I'm not blaming anybody, but I'm just telling you how the system has been working. It is a cyclical triangle, a circle. It's the same thing over and over again. Every generation, you get crushed. Every generation, you get crushed. That is why if this generation allows themselves to be crushed again, it's going to be the same thing. Let's watch this.
And help one father rescue his missing children.
Bon, silan hamini nindinde masoro. Hamini nindinde masoro.
So it's a great documentary, guys. It's a great documentary, and I want to share with you so you guys can see this and know and understand that this is causing a lot of pain for folks back home, parents, mothers, fathers. Again, this is a societal issue. This is a societal problem. And sadly, in Africa, you don't see a lot of, outreach, educational outreach to the young people within communities, right? To talk about these things. Yet, some of the young people, they are willing and ready to sacrifice their lives, no matter what it takes, for them to get out of Sierra Leone or any of these other countries where they currently are. It could be Guinea, Liberia, Gambia, wherever they are. So that is the problem that we have. And so it's very difficult for these young people. So some of them, they're putting themselves in this situation, no doubt. Some of them have heard about the horror stories, but then they'll tell you that, oh, well, if that person so and so did, I could do it too. And that is where the problem lies. All right, okay, a few people died. Well, I might not die. I'll survive it. I'll make it through. But young people, I'll say, stay in your countries and fight for what you believe in. But let's continue to see this. Let's continue to watch this.
Musa, how are you, my brother?
Yes.
They don't traffic 3 Guineans then. Namakeni. As usual, while I help we for locate inside the Guineans then they. This is the police clearance.
Mahmoud Conte heads up the anti-trafficking unit of Interpol within the Sierra Leone police.
This is for those that want to travel.
So now, as you can see, victims from Guinea-Conakry were lured to Sierra Leone. So you see, it's vice versa. It plays all ways, right? A lot of Sierra Leoneans are running to go to Guinea. But in this situation, it is Guineans that were trafficked to Sierra Leone. And that is where the story begins. And of course, this guy in the Sierra Leone Police Department heads the Interpol section. So they're the ones that are going to be chasing, these traffickers to nab down these 3 Guineans that were brought to that were trafficked to Sierra Leone, because they were not brought to, they were trafficked to Sierra Leone. So the operation begins. Let's watch this.
To Canada. This is the form
He has been asked by Interpol Guinea to rescue some young people who are believed to be victims of a trafficking scam.
And this is the request we received from Interpol in Conakry.
This case is a priority for the police. The young people have been missing for over a year, and their family has paid over 25,000 US dollars to traffickers. Mahmoud is working with Musa, a police source, to try to find them.
You able to give me a number of the Amos where they did?
Over 1,200 Guineans who live at the community.
All Guineans?
All Guineans, one Ivorians, one Malians, and
Musa has been covertly monitoring locations in Makeni, a city in the north of Sierra Leone, and has information about the whereabouts of the traffickers.
Have you located the resident?
the boy where he escaped yesterday, he took me to another new base with lot of bosses and new victims. They all from there. Lot of police are here.
Yeah, keep that intelligence to ourselves. Whilst we put things in place for travel to Makeni as soon as possible, Lord go rescue them.
It's sad, guys, but it's the reality of what is actually happening. I don't want to keep playing too much of this, otherwise, you know how it is with copyright issues and stuff like that. So I would definitely direct you guys to go and watch the whole documentary itself on the website of BBC, on their YouTube page, so you could see it for yourself on there. All right, but this is what their YouTube page looks like, and so you could, go see it for yourself. As you can see, hunting the traffickers, scammers trading, on the QNet brand. But again, it's BBC News Africa, right? As you can see there, that's the channel, BBC News Africa. Go watch the whole thing so you can see it yourself. But again, like I said, I just want to talk about this from the perspective of what it's like now. Back in the days, slavery was more so the white folks coming to Africa to buy our brothers and sisters. Well, now, fast forward 2026, we're in the 24th century. We're talking about the fourth industrial revolution, with the access of artificial intelligence now, AI technologies taking a hold. Yet the African youth, the African population, have not been able to realize their potential because the African leaders themselves don't even know or have an idea of what to do to bring this much development to the lives of these young people. So what are they doing? They watch on the internet. They see all this beautiful side to life overseas here. They say, "Oh, Jesus gracious, we can do it too. If this other person did, I can do it as well." And that is what is killing Africa, and that is why our brothers and sisters are susceptible, to these drug traffickers that are taking advantage of them, every day. And people are losing so much money. Don't take it for granted, right? They are losing so much money on these scams, being brought out, to them by these folks. They are losing tons and tons of money. So the problem now is like the young people, in as much as I told you, as you could see the title of this live, I'm not blaming the traffickers as much. I'm blaming the leaders and the poor, innocent citizens themselves. Because the African leaders, when you look at what is actually happening across Africa, because they have no solution to the, problems of the people, what they've done is to ensure that they don't say anything about what is actually happening. They keep it really, really quiet. They don't talk about anything. Matter of fact, some of these African countries, and I know cases of Sierra Leone where the Ministry of Labor were the ones that are actually selling out these opportunities to Sierra Leoneans. Back in the day, they'll tell you, "Oh, there's an opportunity to go to Dubai. There's an opportunity to go to this country and this and that." So that is what is happening. They have no solutions to take care of their young people and provide, the manufacturing, the factories and, the opportunities for these young people to thrive and live a better life, because all of the money is being stolen out of Africa and sent overseas to their various bank accounts. And we've seen that they've not been able to solve the problems of the people. They've not been able to provide the basics that the people really need. When you talk about proper access to internet, proper healthcare, right? Clean towns, clean cities, proper sanitation, proper educational systems, proper healthcare accesses. The young people of Africa are seeing these on the internet in other parts of the world and say, oh, I have to go live that life as well. That is where the challenge comes in, and that is where the problem lies. So I'm taking this opportunity to talk to my young brothers and sisters in Africa. You are better off, and standing up to defend, what is happening in your own country, regardless of what actions or what routes you might want to take to get it done. But you are better off, actually standing up, to those people, to defend your democracy, than living to go to a no man's land, another person's land that you know nothing about, and go die like a dog. Because that's what I see all the time, and I'm not going to show those videos because, of course, YouTube and Facebook all frown at stuff like that. But I know, for example, when they see like the snowstorm now, right? Oh, they see these storms, they're like, oh my goodness, this is the life that I'm looking forward to. I did a little something here where I just did like an aerial view of what the storm would look like, and of what the after effects of the snowstorm up the roofs in the neighborhood and stuff like that. This is what these young people see, and they say, "Oh my goodness, this is the life that we have to live, and this is the life that we deserve to live." So we know all of these things, and it is a place to ensure that we teach our brothers and sisters to know that, hey, not everything that you see is what it is as it's made out to be. You have to be very mindful of that, right? And this is what we're trying to tell them. But of course, they're not going to listen to what we have to say, because at the end of the day, they say, hey, look at that, your country. Look how beautiful your country is. Come on, what are you talking about? We want to go live that life too. We want to go see what is actually happening there too. That is the problem that we have, across the continent of Africa. And we have to keep talking to our brothers, keep talking to our sisters. But these situations, it's real. They are real. They are suffering. They see this life. They say, oh, I deserve this. I can do this too. And I want to go to America. I want to go to Europe. And some of them have sworn to their lives that no matter what it takes, if it means they have to walk from Sierra Leone to America or walk from Sierra Leone to the United Kingdom, they will take that walk. This is how desperate these young people are. And this is the fundamental problem that we have, because we have useless leaders. And for me to even talk about the fact that it's no longer favorable to come to these countries thinking that you'll be able to make it. Because these countries, the US, European nations, they are all going through their troubles. They're all going through their own problems right now. So you trying to come into their countries illegally, they have something waiting for you. But when you look at example Sierra Leone today, the amount of Sierra Leoneans that are exiled in Guinea, of course, because we have a dictator in Sierra Leone, Julius Maada Bio. So a lot of us Sierra Leonean brothers and that are exiled in Guinea. Some of them are exiled, but are still running their mouth crazy. But they're exiled in Guinea Conakry. They cannot come back home to Sierra Leone. Or if they do come back home, no more talking, no more opposition, no more speaking up about how they feel about democracy. But lots of Sierra Leoneans in Gambia, Ghana, Nigeria, everybody's running away, and then of course, in the diaspora as well, everybody wants to run away, and hence the problem that we have. But this is what they see all of this beauty. They say, oh, if those guys did it, we could do it too. And that is the problem that they have. They say, oh, it's snowing over there. Man, I love that snow. I would love to experience the snow, but they don't know that a lot of us that are over here, we really don't care much about these snow anymore. If we could, we don't want to deal with that snow anymore. If only Sierra Leone or Africa, if these leaders were taking care of our countries, we want to go back to our various countries and go live our lives, because we've seen it all. So what we're asking for is the basics. Give us electricity, give us clean drinking water, give us healthcare, give us good schools, give us good roads, give us clean communities, organized communities. That is all some of us need from the diaspora, because that is the positive side, and that's what we've taken away from moving to the diaspora. But a lot of our brothers and sisters, they see that and they say, oh, it's the end of the world. Look at me here. I have to make it, and I have to go join my brothers in the diaspora at all costs, no matter what it takes. So that is the problem that we have. And I think we have a responsibility not to be quiet about these things and talk about them and bring awareness to our younger brothers and sisters so that, we can save some lives. I believe that we could save some lives. I believe that if we keep speaking up about this and telling these young brothers and sisters to stand up and challenge the status quo in their countries, challenge them. We've seen rebel wars before. If that's what it has to take for you to have what you need, you got to stand up for yourself and take what you want. We've seen people like the Julius Maada Bios of Sierra Leone. You see the Yoweri Musevenis of Uganda, the Paul Kagames of Rwanda. All of these people had to lead revolutions in their various countries in the name of changing and bringing betterment to the lives of their people. But where has that taken us today? 1992 in Sierra Leone, they had a coup. 1991, Ali Kaba had the brutal rebel war, and Fodi Sako joined him later. All of these guys, they had a vision. They said, we're going to start these revolutions because we want to give our people the lives that they deserve. They say we're tired of oppression and suppression. They're tired of the corruption level in the country. The military were fed up. Everybody was tired. They said we want change. And those guys like the Ali Kabas, they led the massive revolution, the rebel war in Sierra Leone, senselessly claimed the lives of innocent people. So that's why we say again in Africa, the next set of rebel wars should not be targeting the innocent citizens. It should be a surgical precision of going after the ones that have actually caused the trouble for you in your various countries. So think about that when you go to start your revolutions and your rebel wars in your various countries, because you've all seen that elections are no longer free and fair. Elections are rigged. You can no longer vote because your votes does not speak, because your votes is just trash. It is the ones that count the votes that actually make the decision as to who's going to lead them. You've all seen that. There's no way out for Africa, except for the few beautiful countries. So if you're going to start a revolution in your own country in Africa, the young people coming together, whatever way you do it, taking up arms against the state, civic unrest, whatever it is that you're going to do, you have to do to save yourselves. But other than that, the same way your parents have been crushed, your grandparents were crushed, the poverty cycle continues. You are poor, you're now having kids, your kids are going to suffer as much as you suffered, and worse than you suffered, because the world, the direction we're going in today, your suffering is nothing compared to the kids that you're going to be bringing into this world. They're going to suffer more, especially in the continent of Africa, because until we change those leaders that we have, nothing is going to happen. So if other people have led revolutions across Africa, we've seen it. John Jerry Rawlings is a classic example. He led the revolution in Ghana because he was tired of seeing his people suffer. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. Do what you got to do to save your country. But stop running away from the troubles of your country just you think to come overseas and find a greener pasture. I wish you all the best. Take care of yourselves, young people, and I hope that you'll do what's right by you to save your generation and generation yet unborn. Bye-bye, guys.